Okay, here we are. Finally, we want to get healed. I'm sure you have been able to check out the kind of pain that you may have gone through as a child. And let me say that even in your teenage, there is some new pain that you may have experienced. And this new pain has some kind of a similarity with what you went through as a child. For example, if the pain you went through as a child is a pain of abandonment, it is very possible that even in your teenage you experienced some kind of abandonment. Different circumstances, but it left you with the same kind of a feeling. In your young adult life, it is also very possible you went through some kind of abandonment. Again, different circumstances altogether, but leaving you feeling exactly the same. And even right now as an adult, if you're an adult, it is very possible you're experiencing abandonment. So the pain that we experience in our childhood, it has a way of forming a cycle that you keep experiencing it at every other time in your life. Every other time in your life, it comes in a particular way. So you feel exactly the same kind of pain that you felt as a child. So if you have found that kind of a cycle in your life, it is time to break it. It is time to break it. So the healing process is very simple. God is always ready to heal. When we come to Him and we ask Him for healing, He does exactly that. So I'll give you a few steps here. Step number 1 is create an atmosphere where you can be able to hear God, or where you can be able to communicate and relate with God. That kind of an atmosphere is an atmosphere probably of prayer, meaning that begin this kind of process with a prayer. Just go before God and tell God, I am coming before you because I want to be healed. So how do you create that kind of an atmosphere? For somebody like me, probably I would just take some time and be silent and just wait and just meditating, or maybe I read some scripture, or I'm just speaking to myself and I'm telling myself all I'm doing is that I am waiting on God. I want to connect with God. I want to talk with God. Some other people would want to begin by maybe singing some songs, getting into worship, just to prepare that atmosphere where God can come in and minister to you easily. You want to be in an atmosphere where you can easily receive from God, be ministered to by God. That is number 1. Step number 2, pour out your heart to God. What do I mean by pouring out your heart? This is where now you pick the particular pain that you want God to heal. Now, some people might say, I don't know where to start because I've been wounded so much. I have so much pain, I don't even know which one to start with. So when it gets to that point, just ask God, what would you want to heal me of? And tell God, I have so much pain, I don't know which one to start with. So what would you want to heal me of? Most of the times, God will take you to the earliest memory of pain in your life. So you can do a short prayer and tell God to open up your memory, to take you back to those childhood years so that you remember something that was hurtful. And let me tell you, it's not difficult to remember unless it was so traumatic that you dissociated from it. There's something called dissociation in children. A child can dissociate from pain and they form another person, and the child from that moment begins to have what you call a split personality. So when that happens, then it's very difficult for them to remember anything that happened in their childhood. So they have a blank. So if you identify a blank in your childhood that you can't remember, some of them would say they can't remember anything in their nursery school, in their lower primary. They can't remember even going to class 1. They can't remember anything. They can't remember how they used to even behave at home. They can't remember. It's totally a blank. If you find yourself with a blank, then it simply means there is something that happened in your childhood and it was very traumatic. You dissociated yourself from it and you formed another person, another part of you. So the person that you are today is not the part that was wounded. So the person who was wounded is not the person you are. So that thing cannot be remembered. So you need to seek help because there's nothing much you can do because you can't remember. So you'll need to seek help so that you get into a session like if you were to meet with me, I would know exactly how to handle that and take you back to a point where you might begin to get a little bit of what may have caused the dissociation. But it takes some little bit of a skill to open up that memory. But for people who have memories of their childhood, all you need to do is ask God to remind you, some of the childhood pain. When you remember one and you begin to tell God about it, because you'll begin to tell God exactly how you're remembering it, many times it leads into yet another memory. When another memory comes, again, tell it to God, and if that leads to yet another memory, tell it to God. So this is what is called pouring out your heart to God. You're pouring out your heart to God. So why are we telling God this? Because He's the only one who can heal. Because these wounds are in the spirit. He's the only one who can heal. So step number 3, identify whether there are people you would need to forgive. Looking at the kind of hurt and pain that you are now remembering, who were involved? Are there people you would need to forgive? So write their names down and then ask God to give you the grace to forgive them, because forgiveness is a key to your healing. So you will need to forgive these people so that you can get your healing. I will do another video explaining reasons why we forgive. But I would want to say right here that forgiveness sets you free. Forgiveness sets you free. When you forgive, you're doing yourself a favor. So identify people that you would need to forgive and ask God for the grace to forgive them. And then step number 4, forgive those people by speaking directly to them. I'm not saying that you make phone calls and you begin to call people and tell them, I forgive you for what you did. No. Assume that person is seated right there. If you're doing this in your bedroom because you need to be in a place where you will not be interrupted, you can pick a pillow, put it right there on a chair, and call that pillow that particular person you want to forgive. So address that pillow as though you were addressing that person. Tell that person everything that you can remember that they did to you. And as you're doing this, try as much as you can to connect with the pain of that moment, the pain you felt that time. Even if it is 40 years ago, we always are able to connect ourselves with that pain. I'm sure you have found yourself at some point remembering something that happened years back, and you found yourself feeling exactly the way you felt that time. It is even possible to find somebody weeping, tears are just flowing. And it's not because of anything that is happening now. It is as a result of a memory. So we have an ability to remember those painful moments and feel exactly the way we felt. So that is a key thing. Try to connect with what happened that time so that you feel it now. And why is it necessary to feel it now? So that you can deal with it now. When you felt it as a child, you didn't have the ability to deal with it. You held it in because you didn't have the ability to deal with it. Right now, you want to face the same situation as the person you are, whether you're an adult or you're a teenager. Now, you want to deal with that pain now consciously. So you want to feel it so that now you can deal with it. It's called to get closure. You want to get closure. So address everybody who is involved in your pain for the purposes of what? Of getting closure. So make sure you get closure. Feel the pain and finally forgive the person. When you forgive the person, you'll begin to feel this pain is getting out. And that is how you get closure. Step number 5. Ask God to heal you. So ask for healing. Because you have addressed the person, you have forgiven them for what they did. This is the right time now to ask for healing. Step number 2, we were just pouring our heart to God. We were just telling God what happened. What happened? You're telling God, so and so, he did this, he did this. This person, they did this. She did this to me, she did this to me. And I'm coming before you, God, because I want to be healed. And I want to be able to forgive them. Give me the grace to do it. So, forgive the people. Forgive the people. And then address them so that you get closure. And now ask God for healing. Number 6, receive your healing. Receive your healing. How do you do this? By verbalizing it, by saying, God, I thank you for healing me. And I believe from today that this particular pain that was caused by so and so will not be an issue in my life again. I receive my healing. And then step number 7, just take time to just thank God for your healing. Take time to thank God for your healing. Continue saying, God, I thank you, declaring it, so that the enemy also knows you have been healed. And the most important thing is do one wound at a time. Do not take all of them together. Pick one, run through it, finish it, get your healing, thank God for your healing, begin to declare it. And in this step number 7, as you're thanking God and declaring your healing, check if there is any negative belief that you had formed in the time of your pain. Because now that you're healed, you'll begin to feel different. And because you're feeling different, this is the right time to change this particular belief. So as you're thanking God for your healing, talk to God about the belief that you have identified that was faulty, and tell God to help you now to change it, because it is no longer necessary to have that kind of a belief. It was sustained by pain, and now pain is gone. So you need a new belief so that you can begin to live your life on the new belief. And then what you need to do from that moment on, once you have formed a new belief, begin to meditate on that new belief. Do it for at least 30 days. After 30 days, the new beliefs takes the place of the old one. That is how you can change a habit or create a habit. So after you remove the old belief that had been sustained by pain, and this pain is now gone, fix a new belief, meditate on it, keep reminding yourself until it takes the place of the old one. So once you've been able to get healed of one wound, do that for every other pain. It doesn't matter how many wounds, all the memories of pain in your life, you can run them through that particular order and you get your healing. So I hope you have been helped by the information that I've given. I'll do one more video explaining why we forgive, because forgiveness is a key to our healing, and many people struggle with forgiving, especially because some of the wounds we are talking about are very deep and they just don't feel like they can forgive. The right thing to do is to forgive. So I want to do a video right here after this one on why we forgive. Why is it important for us to forgive? So take time, get yourself through those 7 steps that I've put over here and get your healing. You need it, and it is there for you.